Subash. Very good evening to all of you that have joined the session. Um, we'll pretty much get started. Everybody knows Subhash, so I think it's a good idea to pretty much get started on the conversation for today, which is really moving from competency to mastery in some sense. Uh, and Subhash, therefore, I want to step back a little bit and even understand the role of competencies themselves as an aid for people to become better coaches, to become coaches in the first place, then to perhaps become accredited coaches and to even become better coaches. How do the competencies aid us in that journey?
Both of us are good examples of that journey, Anand. Both of us came with some experience, some good experience in the corporate and leadership roles, having managed large teams, P&L. But we learned something totally new when we got into coach training, right? For all of us who get into this journey, there's a lot of learning of the framework, the tools, the methods of pure and classical coaching. That learning happens from a space of unlearning also, right? I mean, we have struggled with that. There's a bit of learning and unlearning to pick up the framework, the competency. And I always feel that all learning happens only from a space of humility. So when if unlearning is backed by humility, very easy to say. I say this with a lot of humility, but yeah, that's where the learning happens. And what I feel is, what I've increasingly come to believe is, when we are able to keep aside our ego, our assumption that we know a lot of stuff from our experience, education, life experience, you know, I think a lot of things then still can start manifesting in front of us. So PK keeps talking about being devoted or surrendering to the framework, right? I think from there, the way the competency will speak to us starts changing, starts shifting, and some amount of that I've experienced that, and even today, something as basic as listening as a competency, when we are discussing that with even with an ACC batch, let alone a PCC batch or Coaching Unlimited, some words strike you. I think the collective energy of the cohort and some of the interactions, and totally a new perspective emerges even on some of those words. Even I always say even the comma and full stops in the framework starts showing up differently. So the framework is the foundation to become anything in the realm of coaching, to summarize.
Hmm. And the framework and the set of competencies itself have actually been redefined in some way, right? I think the last one was perhaps in 2019 or so when they reframed it. And I've really heard from many illustrious coaches about the power of the wordings within the competency itself. Every word, and I think you just alluded to that as well, has some very, very deeper meaning. How does one start unraveling those different meanings attributed to each single word within the competency framework itself?
So at the initial stage, it's about just going by the framework. Keep aside the flow state and the art of coaching and everything aside. Go back to the two twos are four, three twos are six kind of a framework mindset, and it's a mindset which is a competency number two.
Right.
And from there, the more we practice, a lot of it becomes from an unconscious incompetence to, say, conscious competence. We are mindful of taking 3.1, 3.2, 8.1, 7.5. Somewhere along the way, the dependency on the crutches of the framework starts just moving away,
Hmm.
right? If I am not romanticizing it too much, you become one with the framework. The framework is integral. At the same time, it is not a conscious effort. And when that happens, right, then then what comes out as a question, for example, I always say, don't think of a question, let the question come to you. You are so present and you are so deep in listening, the fourth level of listening, that the question comes and stands in front of you. So it is built, to summarize, initially just surrendering to the process of the framework step by step, allowing that over a period of time through reflective practice, just not practice. It is 10,000 hours plus reflection, Malcolm Gladwell's theory. So then it becomes more internal. And the final, to specifically answer question, we always recommend before you get into a session, one of your rituals can also be just go through that framework, right? The markers. It's just three pages. That's it. Just go through them. More to tap into the unconscious competence, right? You're not
Hmm.
consciously thinking. And after the session, look at it and see, did I miss any critical competency? And if you see a pattern over a period of time in your journal and in your reflecting it, then that is an area for either to correct, go back to mentor, or find an external help from a fellow coach. So it's about that the rigor of reflective practice, and I gave the example of going through before and after. Others might have better options, but that moves from an initial phase to and something that is embedded into our system. And then magic happens in the session. And when the magic happens in the session, the client knows, the coach knows. If there is an observer, even the observer knows. There is no two opinion about it. And that is what happens, when the magic happens.
Can you elaborate a little bit? And I've heard you say this before as well. Even before us, you said perhaps the client knows it, right? Whether the magic is in fact happening because they are the ones experiencing it. Can you speak a little bit more in terms of? I know it's not tangible, and you did speak about the fact that it is integral and it's one within the framework and so on. How does that come about? What is the manifestation that the client experiences, if you will? And are there signs that are able to pick up saying, or should we not? Because then we lose our presence.
No, we will pick it up without losing the presence, right? We are so present that we are still able to observe. We are not kind of making a conscious effort to remember. Okay, the client said that. It's like like the movie, right? You are able to see that and not getting attached also, but you are detached, attached. So you are observing it, you are picking it up, and what is relevant stays with you without making a conscious effort. I'll give a quick example. This morning, I mentored one of our PCC learner coaches, fabulous coach, comfortably at a PCC level. But we are nudging little bit to can you go beyond the PCC also, which is mastery, right? Beyond the credentials, looking at that at a mastery level, which is the topic today. Now, we had a brief discussion on a recording that the coach had sent, and I asked for something better for one, two, three reasons. That was a discussion. Then I said, okay, now try it on me. Yeah, I'll practice. I'll be a client and you be the coach. And incidentally, last few days I have not been journaling. So the prompt from Subramani today on the group, I pulled out the journal saying that I'm going to start writing again because of my shifting and all. So I said this is what I want to discuss on journaling. So what started off as just the act of journaling, how do I stay with the habit, which is a good topic to explore, moved into what is journaling for me.
Hmm.
This may be very different from what it is for you or anyone else, right? And around everything, I have my own set of stories. That moved to reflective. I said, I am reflective for one, two, three reasons, not going to the details. Uh, I'm aware I'm reflective and I want to capture it somewhere. So the next question was, what is the shift in reflection that you're experiencing? So, what was a simple habit of journaling every day became what is it about reflective, which is not really journaling at all, right? For me, that was magic.
Hmm. Getting deeper into.
Yes, and it was just an organic process of exploration, which took me in what less than 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, yeah, 5 6 minutes, not more.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, so I think we've touched upon competency, and in some way you've spoken about how do you elevate that to the level of unconscious competence itself. When do you transcend that and move into the path of mastery? Is that a conscious choice? Is that something that in a sense, happens organically as you continue to practice and as you continue to reflect. When does that start to happen? When that journey start? Obviously, I think the journey is very far away, but
Yeah.
what is the starting point for the mastery itself?
So, first of all, I personally don't think it is a conscious effort.
Mm.
Right? I think it is Viktor Frankl, Dr. Viktor Frankl, who said, if you chase happiness, it will keep moving away
El-
from
Eluding you.
you. I think that's pretty much about everything. Uh, so to that, I think, even if you're chasing nirvana, can you really achieve it? I'm not sure. While the topic is about chasing mastery, it's deliberately being provocative for the benefit of listeners. We have debated this long back about bringing chasing mastery, because at this stage where we are in our lives, we are still doing mastery or chasing mastery. So, at what stage, it is very personal to every coach. There are coaches in a community whom I said, you don't need to go beyond an ACC. You are already at a at a high mastery level.
Mm.
I feel personally, it's about one who they are fundamentally at a being level, and how much of that they're able to bring into their work, which is beyond competency. Competency is minimum, right? The framework is minimum. Beyond that, how much you are still dependent on the competency to give client that aha moment, vis-a-vis how much you are able to just dance in the moment, letting go that framework, conscious compliance to just who you are. And I always say this, um, people may do all the research and everything, and then your credentials, experience, logos on your profile before they connect with you for a discovery session. But in the discovery session, it's the connect. It's never your past experience. So that's why I say you're only as good as your next session, not even the last session.
Mm.
So if the chemistry session is about that connect at a human level, that is the key to mastery. How much I am able to tap into who really I am, and play with that framework in a way that I can serve the client. It's not about me also. I mean, coach centricity is anyway out of the window from the day one. But it is also not client centricity. It is something what is beyond in the realm of client's potential. And very often the client may not be ready for it. The client may not be interested also. That I want a promotion, let me talk about promotion. Forget my potential for later day, they'll say, right?
Mm.
My best client said, we will just talk about my work. He did like that. I still joke with him. He came like this, and quickly that engagement went into very different realm. And he's moved big time because he was open to go beyond this, right? So
I would
I know
go ahead.
I digressed a bit. It's about and it's also the client's readiness, the client's preparedness to go beyond the realm of their comfort zone, the coach's ability to partner with them, and the work that the coaches do on themselves. I mean, multiple factors depend on it.
So maybe the third point that you said, the coach's willingness to work on themselves,
100%
and also you spoke about bringing um, one's self to the
fully.
fore fully. Um, is there an element of, therefore, a deeper self-awareness that needs to be worked on? If I were to combine the third point of self-work that you spoke about and the need to bring the true self into the fore, is part of the self-work starting with establishing a higher and deeper level of self-awareness? And how does one go about doing that?
Yeah, very good point for bringing it up. So one is, I think right from the day we start coaching education, we should start that work on that self-awareness bit, because we all know, all coaches here, we know that one of the definite outcome of every coaching engagement is deeper self-awareness for the client. That's what will make the client more resourceful, right? So there's absolutely no escape from that. And if the client experiences classical coaching, the client will leave at a place at a deep self-aware. I had one of my clients recently, whom I wouldn't rate as one of my some of my best engagements, going very slow and steady, but not to my even my satisfaction. So I asked, how is it going? We are pretty much three sessions complete out of eight. How is it going? So he used a word saying that I'm more in control. I'm more, he didn't use the word self-awareness, but he used couple of synonyms for self-awareness. So, even in a third session of a client whom I don't still think is really moving towards the full potential as of now, but will eventually reach there, is able to experience it. So, while we learn the process of coaching, practice, intentional practice, reflective practice, we also start working on the deeper self-awareness part. That pretty much is different for person to person, because that differs from our experiences, family, culture, everything. Uh, some of the things, and I have personally benefited immensely from is yoga practice. Thanks to our common friend Akhil, who connected me to a yoga teacher whom I was searching for ages. I found someone. I know the Carnatic music that I'm learning. I'm an absolutely bad singer, not even fit for a bathroom kind of singing. But I've got a teacher who's like a coach who sees that potential in me. Of course, she says it takes three births to realize the full potential of a musician. So, by the third birth, you might become a prodigy. So, that is also an hope. But
And there
music,
is hope.
oh, there is hope. So, music also is something that has helped me. Yoga, pranayam, working with these two mentors helps me. Apart from all the work I do in the realm of coaching and coach training, Dr. Ram was one of our, I think you know him, one of our PCC learners used to say, every client is a default coach. Every
Mm.
coaching client is a default coach. So all these experience also add up. A third point that I want to bring in, apart from these two, the framework and the self-awareness or self-work, is the business side of coaching. Right. I don't know if it is partly cultural or it is the background that we come from, or we put coaching or anything in that realm on a pedestal, that we don't manage the business side of coaching, the branding of coaching. In the process, we don't attract the right prospects. In the process, we don't create a thriving practice. So if you ask me, my golden triangle is coaching skills below, the business side of coaching on the other angle, the third top angle is all the self work and deep work that we do. You ignore one, I think we will never reach mastery.
Mm.
Even one. The three, as a coach, I am at the middle when I visualize that framework. The deep work, coaching skills, and the business of coaching. In the center is me. So it's like a three-legged stool. If I miss one of them, if I ignore one of them, and it is, the business side is not marketing on LinkedIn and SEO, or it's something far deeper. It's also attracting the right client, right? Having a good discovery session, right? I mean, there are multiple factors that come together to even have a good discovery session, right?
Mm.
Connectivity to the ambience and your own mindset. So that's why it's all related. Does it answer?
It starts answering. I want to delve a little bit more onto this idea of mastery. So we have typically heard that when the student is ready, the teacher somehow shows up, right?
Yes.
So even in the mastery journey, as much as there is a self work, um, how does one attract that master, if you will, to enable us to go through that journey? Or are we our own masters in some way through the reflective practices that we take us through ourselves through?
So, for me, I leverage the hero's journey of Joseph Campbell. It is more the mentors that will come into our lives. Some of them will also go away on the journey to mastery. Right. So, as a student, we do not have the luxury of getting attached to, mentors or helpers he uses in his framework, or guide, multiple synonyms that he uses at different points of life till that, rebirth happens at the bottom. So, for me, because uh, couple of people might come and prepare us for that journey, right? Mentors, because this also is coming from the fact that while this line is very popular, the teacher manifests when the student is ready. I look at it from a spiritual angle. I say the real teacher, the Sadguru, right? The real spiritual guru, which is the only teacher, manifests even when the student is not ready. And that is a spiritual teacher because the connect is across multiple lives. So, keeping that aside, from a worldly realm, uh, we do experience learning from multiple people, and it could be, somebody that I'm facilitating or training at an ACC batch. They ask some questions which makes me reflect, and I acknowledge them also. Nobody has asked this question, and I'm very curious about this. So that journey is partly responsible for you to move into the mastery. So the first step is committing to the process,
Hmm.
committing to the process of mastery. The second is letting aside the ego that, you know, it's beyond, it's something above me. It's the chakra above us, which is also considered to be the guru, right? The guru is same as the chakra above our head. Uh, at the same time, we are learning from any situation and person. So there are multiple factors that lead us to mastery. And if you look at anyone that you consider as master in their craft, in any field, they would have gone through this. It's a hero's journey for sure for all of them. But we don't need to again romanticize the struggle and the turbulations of their lives. No, not necessary. That need not be a belief system. Yeah, but at the same time, there are multiple factors that come together to make that master. So as a student, I need to be committed. I need to be reflective. I need to be disciplined. And last point, slightly controversial. Sometimes we tend to focus on the exam, clearing the recordings. These are just pit stops. I mean, that is a distraction from the mastery. And all mastery is not for us as coaches. It is for the client. It doesn't matter that I am a maestro, right? Unless my audience can listen to that music, or the
Hmm.
audience or my client can experience that magic. Otherwise, what is the use of me being a maestro? So it is that being in the service of the client, absolute service of the client, not just one session, not even the goal, but the client really moves into that realm of potential.
What could be some of the limiting beliefs that could impede our path to mastery?
Very good question, Anant. I know the coach whom I worked, I had a chat today morning. The coach was saying, sometimes I'm wondering, am I good enough at this stage? In spite of me repeating multiple times in our group that, my PCC feedback is at a mastery level. So don't feel disheartened by by small things that I'm highlighting, right? It is all to nudge you towards mastery. So the one is, so what is in our head that that we have not done enough work to get rid of that talking, right?
Self-talk.
Self-talk. That negative self-talk. That is the first thing. And where does that come from? It comes from our childhood to early stage career to the current work situation, the current family situation, community we are part of. It is an entire ecosystem that from birth till date. Yeah, the entire thing it comes. So we ignore the power of the environment, like what biology of belief speaks
Hmm.
of. It's all about the environment. So that is the second thing. Third, we are not trained to handle setbacks, failures, right? Most of us, right? And I am one of them. For me, even losing one sales lead, I am aware that it is, I feel one step below, right? But I have to use that awareness to bring me bounce back. So it is about our inability to face failures. Uh, the fourth one is we are not working on ourselves. If I am getting one step pulled down by that one sales loss, or something in the realm of sales, then how am I avoiding it? How am I overcoming that thing at all, right? That is mastery. So it's mastery of over the self that will reflect as mastery in coaching. So the limiting beliefs, you'll be getting bombarded by, including your own mentors, right? I was wondering, did I create that thought in her that I am not good enough, despite
Mm.
all disclaimers, right? But I do have a responsibility there. So, the triggers are in the environment. What is solution? We need to be aware of the triggers and find ways to manage it.
Wonderful. I'm conscious of the fact that we're getting closer to the time. Um, anybody else that has any questions? And one more to you, Subhash, as well. If there is any additional point that we may not have touched upon in the next minute or so that you wanted to touch upon, it's an invitation for that as well.
Yeah, any alternate point of view, last 3 4 minutes would be would be interesting to hear. PK, thanks for the comment. I heard recently, a clip by Kapil Dev. Kapil Dev makes a comparison between Sachin Tendulkar and Ravi Shastri. He says Ravi Shastri reached his full potential, not the potential in the realm of coaching, but what he was capable of. He says Sachin Tendulkar did not reach. He said Sachin Tendulkar was far more gifted than what he has achieved. So imagine how much work we all can do, right? I'm not going into the accuracy or analysis of that, but I'm saying somebody like Kapil Dev is saying that he would have seen something in Sachin, that in spite of 100 centuries and going back to zero, as Speaker rightly said, that there's so much work for us to do. And the advantage of coaching is, there is no retirement like cricket. We get better as we age, provided we are grounded, you know, we stay committed to the art.
Age like fine wine.
Exactly. Yeah, thanks Sunil, unless we are aligned internally with that peace and growth, you can't do coaching mastery. Yeah, it's an outcome of that high energy for sure. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Any final words from anybody or you, Subhash, as a concluding point?
Yeah, so my invitation is, uh, mastery is something that we keep working on ourselves. There is no end to it. Just as full potential, we may not, none of us may reach our full potential in this lifetime, but it is fine. It's the journey that matters. And the more you experience that, the more fascinating professional coaching is. So go beyond the framework, understand the underlying power of the framework, and go into a flow state session after session. It cannot be one off here and there. It has to be so good as a coach that we should be able to bring that mastery into every session, irrespective of the environment, right? And we deserve that to ourselves. Our clients deserve that for sure, more than we deserving to ourselves. And it is magic when we start experiencing that. Yeah, coaching mastery. Thanks, Anand, for holding the
Wonderful.
space so
Absolutely.
beautifully.
I think it's a fascinating conversation, Subhash. I think to hear your perspectives. Thank you so very much for everyone that's been attending the session as well. Thank you so very much.
Thank you. Bye, everyone.